coasters, and I am live here at the Washington State Fair. So I picked up 2 coaster credits today. I've got a lot of good and a lot of bad to say about the Washington State Fair. So let's start with the good. Well, that's one way to put it, is that I love this ride here. Classic Coaster runs Pryor and Church trains, and that back row has some incredible pops of airtime if you are looking at it this way, like after that turnaround. So it's cool that it's running those vintage Pryor and Church trains. I am gonna say none of the wood that is on the coaster is older than 2013 because it was completely constructed with new wood. Reading the ACE plaque, which I am going to show you, it does have some stuff about the ride's history and the use of certain trains. So I would say it's debatable. You can see it used to be painted white, now it's brown. That's the case for a lot of wooden coasters out in the West. Lagoon isn't exactly close, but I know that that's the case for coaster there. But yeah, the entire coaster was rebuilt. 2009, excuse me, is what it says there. But it is a really cool ride, and the track style is it does have an older track style on the thing of, hey, it had to accommodate the trains, even if it's all new wood that's on it. So I'm going to show the ACE plaque that is back here. The last wooden coaster at a fairgrounds only operates a couple weeks out of the year. So I'm glad that so it's really cool that I got to come here. I never thought I would be riding this coaster. So as you can see here, we've got our ACE Coaster Landmark plaque. So this was originally built as a side friction coaster because it originally used the original coaster that was here used the trains from the Scenic Railway that was at Oaks Park. The family that used to own Oaks Park, the Bollingers, sounds weird to use that name, and it's not Bollinger, it's Bollinger, not Bollinger as in Bollinger and Mabillard. It's Bollinger. They also used to own this place, and they built this thing, and when the Scenic Railway at Oaks Park went defunct in the 1930s, they used the trains on this thing. So it was originally built as a side friction, but then they brought in Pryor and Church trains and converted it to have typical upstops. So it's weird that it was built as a side friction because it was built by John A. Miller and he's of course the inventor of the upstop. But if you look at the track, you can kind of tell that hey, this track design would have been something that would have been converted from side friction for a Pryor and Church train to use. You can tell that it's a track design that would have been that, even if all the wood is new, they had to use the same track design. So that's one good thing about this place. And I also thought Wildcat was pretty cool. but like you're gonna see a policy that they have there that I'm not a fan of. They've got a lot of temporary dark rides. I don't feel too much of a need to go on temporary dark rides. They also have a midway with some kiddie rides, and that has 2 kiddie coasters, and like there are no signs saying maximum height, but they're saying, oh, if you're taller than the sign, you can't ride. So that's a little ridiculous, I think. That Ferris wheel is running pretty fast compared to the ones on the Jersey Shore that looked exactly the same that I couldn't ride because they had a strict no single rider policy on those Ferris wheels. I'm probably going to use the rest of my tickets for rides on Classic Coaster. Because, I mean, quite honestly, I do not feel the need to do traveling dark rides. And with everything that Ryan the Ride Mechanic said about carnival rides placed on dirt, I don't know how much I want to do the flat rides. Like, I mean, Classic Coaster, that's on a permanent foundation. Wildcat doesn't get moved. So those are both awesome. Here's a look at Wildcat. The plot of land it is on used to be Rainier Rush, which was a horrible ride from what I have heard from other coaster enthusiasts that rode it, and Wildcat was in a different spot on the fairgrounds, and it was moved to here after Rainier Rush was removed. With Rainier Rush, since that had a history of operating at a park called Santa's Village, I couldn't help but misreading it as Reindeer Rush when looking at Roller Coaster Database. But so Wildcat is a good ride, but you see it now. Shout out to Zach for making it so that I was not a single rider, and I did get that credit. But you know, that's a little ridiculous that they have that policy for a Schwarzkopf, I think that's the way you say it, a Schwarzkopf Wildcat. It's a little ridiculous that they would have a no single riders policy on it. And they have a no single rider policy on most of their rides not called Classic Coaster. So like they have a zipper, they have that policy on it. They have, like, the people at Classic Coaster, when I first walked up at the beginning of the day, they were like, no single riders. And then one of the employees corrected them and said, we allow single riders on this one. Like, I mean, that tells you how many of these rides have a no single riders policy. And like, I mean, I will say the fact that they don't post online that's a thing, and they charge $60 for a package that's going to let you get a legitimate number of rides in after you've already paid admission. It's like, I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, I mean, I know that price tag is not based on, hey, I'm a coaster enthusiast coming for rides, but we don't really have a choice but to pay that, because like those prices, that's that's based on largely, hey, I'm someone who's coming here with kids to do that's maybe going to do a couple rides, and we can use those ticket packages to make it so that they can do a few rides like that. That's what they're thinking of, not an, oh, I want to get a lot of rides here on Classic Coaster. They do have an S&S shot tower here. I don't really feel the need to go on it because I've been on S&S shot towers everywhere, pretty much everywhere. And, you know, if my choice is go on one of those S&S towers or to go on one of those S&S towers or to go on Classic Coaster, I'm gonna choose to get another ride on Classic Coaster. Like that's a pretty easy choice for me. They do have a paratrooper here. It's like these rides are not permanent. Like, I think only 6 of the rides here are permanent. Classic Coaster, Wildcat, the S&S Tower, the Sky Ride, and then there are 2 more that I would have to look at the whole thing that says permanent rides. But, you know, I'm really glad that I think it was worth the trip to come down here from my contract for the weekend when I had a couple days I didn't have to work. Fair happened to be running. And I was just like, okay, I want to go America or Japan. For what? For coasters? Well, I mean, since I've ridden most of the big coasters in America, if you don't count anything that was built after 2017, anything that was built after 2017 in Florida, and don't count anything in Texas, like, I mean, and don't count Lagoon, which is probably my saddest set of scenic credits, then I've ridden most of the big coasters in America. So I'd probably say, hey, let's go to Japan if I had that choice. I'm gonna show off the Sky Ride station. So we've got some things. We've got the coaster facts here. Can see when they were rebuilding it away from being the white wood. Looks like I can probably get into the queue and take some pictures of that. I'm gonna want to get back there to take some pictures. Is that all right? Yeah, like no line jumping, but I'll say, hey, I'm gonna go to the back of the line after I'm done doing this, but I want to show off some pictures of that. But yeah, like, I mean, I'm loving Classic Coaster. Probably one of the rarest coaster credits among enthusiasts because it only operates a couple weeks out of the year. Excuse me, I want to take a couple pictures back there of that portion of the queue. Excuse me, I'm going to take a couple pictures of the stuff back there. Alrighty. So we can see the trains here. Here's the coaster facts here. And I would agree with this being an Ace Coaster Classic with how these trains operate. We're during the 4 days of the Puyallup Spring Fair. So, like, we're talking about less than a month out of the year this thing operates. Here's them rebuilding it. Don't know if they put some of the same track on, but you can see this is an old picture of when the coaster was white instead of brown. Here's a real picture that shows that. I wonder if this is the site of the old mill, and I wonder if any of this is actual remains of it, or if it's just, hey, we have the boats, we might as well put them here. Here's an old picture of it. I guarantee that's an old boat that was a remnant from the fire. You can see a colorized picture. But yeah, that'll probably do it for my live stream walk around here at the Washington State Fair. I'm gonna get a few more rides here on Classic Coaster, and then we're gonna have some, and then we're gonna do another walk back, and I'll be able to show off that abandoned bridge that I saw earlier today on my walk here.